Hey there, welcome. You know what? Ruben and I are so grateful that you're here. Do us a favor if you can, subscribe to our channel, ring that bell, and you know what? That would just help us out a lot. And I hope you're enjoying the channel. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, everybody. By now, you've heard the tragic story of Charlie Kirk, how he was the victim of an assassin's bullet this past Wednesday. And I just want to say that Charlie Kirk, he was the founder of Turning Point USA, I guess you would say, think tank, the website, the organization that promotes conservative ideas, uh, free markets, low, smaller government, and even cultural ideas, right? The attempt to persuade people against some of the ideologies of our day. And so I guess when I heard this, my first thought was Charlie Kirk. It made no sense because if you're thinking about bomb throwers, you don't think about Charlie Kirk. Now, I have some names of conservative bomb throwers. Now, there's some on the right, there's some on the left, right? But Charlie Kirk, the guy who's just pretty reasonable, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Let's debate. I guess the message for me, um, the last few days is it's a testament perhaps to his effectiveness as he goes into campuses. You know, there are some circles that believe he was the most persuasive, he was the most effective in getting Trump elected. Not Larry Elder or Dennis Prager or Ben Shapiro or some of these names that are dating me that have been traditional. I would have said Rush Limbaugh, but he's been gone for a while. These are the traditional names that have been the
Right.
kind of the those that push over the edge or move the needle a little bit. But it's Charlie Kirk. A lot of people feel that he had that impact on the younger vote, the 20 something, the young 20 somethings that are on college campuses, and his way of debating. So he was effective. And I guess the other lesson is, I guess it's been disappointing to me, troubling to me, aside from the fact that this man has lost his life, cut down at such a young age. It's just so sad to me. And then you think about the family he leaves behind. But I also just think, in terms of this channel and the idea of debate is now political, meaning you shouldn't debate at all certain topics. They're not up for discussion. That's concerning. These ideas about deplatforming people for misinformation. This is a new word, misinformation. No, anything's up for grabs. Anything's on the table for debate. That's how I was raised. That's how we were raised
Right.
to believe. And so I'm very troubled by this. And you should see this long back and forth I've been having with my friend this morning, just all on text, just to be human, just the idea of let's be human with each other and let's not put ideology before our humanity, and just say it's a sad day. I don't agree with him, but it's a sad day for the country when this happens. Jacob, what are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, and I know you. I have to be honest. It's hard to not to get emotional. And I know I'm the more emotional of the two of us, so I really am trying. Okay, guys. But when it was all happening in real time, I was teaching, and I just got buzzed, and my students were doing something, so I looked at it, and I'm like, "What?" When that happens, Ruben, it just you're like, "No, it's not true." And then, oh, he's gonna be fine. My first thought right away was like, "He's gonna be fine. It's gonna be all right," you know. And then as the day went on, it wasn't all right, and then he passed. And for me, Ruben, I guess my thoughts were that it wasn't like somebody I didn't know. And I think a lot of people, we didn't know him personally, right? But we heard him debate. And the whole thing, like you just shared, Ruben, this is a guy who just went on campuses and debated since he was 18. He had a choice to go to college or continue with this company he started, this Turning Point company, a 18-year-old young man, and so he was just vibrant. And so you saw him grow over the years. I've seen him grow. I remember when he used to be with Candace Owens and he was, in his young career, and then he started just impressing a lot of people in the conservative movement. And so I followed him over the years. It's like somebody like, and you go, this is a good kid. He's not. You're right though. He's not one of the heavy hitters, right? He was just somebody who loved to debate and have and the way he did it was it taught me a lot of lessons. Like, wow, this is how you talk to people. This is how. And I'm not saying he was perfect. And a lot of people have written that list of things that Charlie Kirk has said. He said this. I go, listen, this man has been around for like 12, 13 years. I'm sure he said a couple of things he wished he didn't say or whatever. Or you could even take things out of context. But I think I got a feeling of who this man was. And he was a man and he always said, love God. And then I love my family, right? And then I'm working with my people here. And I think that's how you saw him. And I love when he said once that he wants to be remembered by his faith. And I think that we see that when his conversations with students on campuses and that even when can you imagine, last thing he did in his life was he was talking to somebody. He was debating. He was having conversation. And I'm like, wow, what a way to go. And I will always remember that. And I think another thing that has hit me, Ruben, and I think a lot of people is the way he died because we all saw it. And I can't see that image anymore because I saw the long version and I saw short, up close, and I'm like, I can't get that out of my head. And it's just troubling because I know his children were nearby and his wife was nearby. And the first thing his daughter wanted to do was to run to him, which children do, and I have children. So fathers know that you want to protect your children. And this child, just the first thing she thought was, I want to go run to my dad. And so this is a human being that was gone. I mean, if anything, he passed away, and it did grieve me that some people um, didn't see it that way. They celebrated it, and I think we have to remember we have some humanity right now. Hopefully, I think it is happening though. I hate when people say, "Oh, maybe something bad happened and something good will come because of it." I do believe that, but it's just hard to hear it sometimes. Like, okay, I've heard this 100 times. Something good's gonna happen. What's good's gonna happen for the death of
I
Charlie Kirk? You know,
I understand the criticism of that comment just because it might sound very Hallmark card.
Hallmark card, yes.
I mean, I know there's a verse that says good things come together.
Yes, and I believe it. It's just hard to hear at the moment. But now as I'm sitting back and I think, well, how has it affected me, Ruben? I've just been going to scriptures and reading, and it's comforting, because I'm like, I can't do anything except pray and to read and to encourage other people to have good attitudes and justice will prevail. And if not here, in the heavens, right? And so I just know that God's in control. And I think and I share this. I don't think we talked a lot of spiritual matters here. I mean, I think people know that of our faith. I think most people follow our podcasts, but we don't really push politics a lot. We don't push religion. I mean, you get it. Of course, when you follow us, you see a little bit of this and that. But this hit home this week, and because of a guy who just really was just doing what he thought was what he was supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
and I know you and I went to college, and I don't want to speak for you, but I remember going to college and not being a place of free speech and free thought. I remember my professors shutting me down when I came up with an idea
I,
like contrary to them. And
I actually didn't have that experience
okay,
uh, all the time in the sense that I feel like I went to college in a different era.
yeah,
I did have one professor who might have kind of skewed that way, but I
I had a
remember
few.
a professor. I remember a professor in at Long Beach saying, I remember his because he was a beloved professor, and I remember him saying that Reagan came to Long Beach one year. Now this was like in the 70s, maybe even late
Sure.
60s. He was, professors. I'm dating myself. Uh, Since I had a professor who was teaching in the 60s, but
Yeah,
um, he had mentioned that Reagan came, and it was before he was a president. It was like he was he was kind
right
of
after he
running,
was governor. Yeah,
yeah, governor. And he said that the student union shouted him down. He wasn't even able to speak. And my professor had said that he thought that Reagan was a damn fool, but we needed to let him speak. And he goes, we
great.
felt for shame that he felt shame for the campus that he was shut down, Reagan was shut down.
Yeah.
And I never forgot that because it told me that the university is a place for ideas. And this is it. This is what we're trying to do. And there used to be an expression, we can disagree agreeably,
Yeah.
but we don't hear that anymore, you know? So I guess for me, I had a conversation with the teacher. Um, One of the lessons, it's just an ongoing lesson for me, and that is I won't tell students what to think. And some teachers might not agree with me, but we've talked about this on this
Yeah.
channel. But I'll share with them how to think. I'll talk to them about the diverse ideas that are out there. I'll try to take both sides of the issue, which I've done. I've had students wonder where I stood because it's okay to have diverse opinions and to encourage that and for students to have self-discovery. I'm really concerned that we're past that. And from some of the text messages I've gotten from my friend, it feels like this has become a culture war that hopefully doesn't turn into more physical war, if you know what I mean, a violent war,
Right.
because that's not, I hope that's not what most people want. I think some people might want it right now, though. So
Yeah.
uh, this is the lesson for me. So I guess for me, it's going forward. It's continue to study. I mean, he was a good example. As young as he was, he knew his stuff and he can articulate it. And students need that. Sometimes we've talked in the past, what do students need for mental health? And I think one of the critical things students need is a good example of strong teaching. This is what we could do. Whatever we're doing and some of the viewers are not teachers, but being a good model to young people, if you have kids or if you're around children, um, you know what? That model of strength and wisdom is what is needed right now more than ever.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's the thing. I mean, I believe he's an individual that will be looked on 10, 20 years from now, maybe even longer, and regarding his behavior when he debated and how young people looked up to him. I think we're an older age, we're teachers. When I say older age, I mean we're not kids. But I have talked to some young people this week, and some didn't care for him, some did, but the ones that definitely did, they're really going through a lot. And I think if you guys know, our audience, when I say guys, I mean the audience, if you know somebody who's young and really loved Charlie Kirk, just put your just care about them, just love them because these people are going through a hard time. I know my son is 23 and he just sat in his room, dude. He just sat in his room and just said, I just don't understand it. And I just talked with him. I said, I know, son. And we just talked, because he just he didn't process like why is he gone? He wasn't like you mentioned, he's not one of the heavyweights. He was just somebody who debated people. When I
What
say
I said,
heavyweight, I mean he definitely did do a lot for the
yeah,
cause. Yeah.
okay.
I mean
Yeah.
and I agree with you. I think I share with my students, I go, he probably was the one who got him over the top because the Generation Zers
Well, and
males, yeah.
maybe I needed to be more specific what I meant. What I said was a bomb thrower, and what I meant by
Right.
that,
You're right.
there are some who are there just to be saboteurs, or that's not the word I want. Provocateurs, meaning they
Provocateur.
want to provoke
Hmm.
people, and
Hmm.
they'll say provocative things, and they often divisive things, and
Sure.
maybe they're not intending to create hatred, but they want to get people's attention, and it borders on it borders on divisiveness.
Sure.
He's not that,
No,
he wasn't
he wasn't
that, and
that.
so he was the conversation guy.
Yeah.
I guess for a while, there's several people that do that. I can think
Mm.
of Steven Crowder, Matt Walsh,
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro, Dinesh D'Souza. They've gone on campuses and they've had debates. But I guess what's troubling to me is this idea of, well, no, that's not welcome here. You are X.
Yeah.
Um, do you remember the movie, The Skokie, Illinois,
Yes. Yes.
where the KKK came to town or something,
Hmm.
and ACLU defended their right
Hmm.
to march?
Yeah.
And I remember back then thinking, this is not right. This is the KKK. And my history talk about a different era,
Yeah. Yeah.
huh?
For sure. For sure.
the my I won't maybe I won't mention his name. Um, my teacher back then, middle school teacher, said, "No, we don't have to agree with the KKK to say the KKK has a voice that we can allow.
Yeah,
It's a freedom of speech issue. This is a
yeah,
constitutional issue." And even I remember back then, Jacob, just thinking that doesn't sound right. But he's right. I mean, he's right. Everybody has a voice. You can't squelch it. And then you win in the, you know what I'm saying? You win in the arena of debate, and
for sure.
may the best person win. As
Yeah.
so
I
well,
do want to say one more thing though. I do want to as a teacher though, I do want this also reminds me to check myself because I do try to push students for arguments. I always talk about arguments. I always tell them, I don't care what you believe in, have your arguments though. Don't just say I do it because I feel it because it's wrong or because I think that's fine, but just say why. Give your arguments for that. We just went over the Declaration of Independence this week. And Thomas Jefferson had 27 complaints to the king regarding why we're going to be independent. And next year's our birthday, right? 250 years. And I said, that was wonderful. The whole world saw 27 complaints. They said, that's plenty of arguments. Have a couple arguments for why you believe your things, why you believe what you believe in. And and you've heard Charlie Kirk when he used to speak. He had plenty of arguments. He was fast to get to those, and he knew his Constitution, he knew his Bible, he knew all that. And I think encourages me to know my stuff as well. But at the same time, to encourage the young people to have their arguments, whatever their point's going to be, have an argument.
okay. Thank you, everybody. Tell us what you think, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.